I think this bhaji personifies the Goans. The Goans are lovely, amiable, friendly sort of a people. The sort of people who embrace everybody. And I think these bhaji that we are tasting is certainly quite representative of that. Very gentle in the manner it pleases your taste buds. Goan samosa. The sweet aroma of that maida mixed with the bananas and also some milk. That's delicious. As you can see, I'm wasting no time to scoop up the remnant of that sukhi bhaji onto my poori. We've just arrived in Goa and we want to do a traditional Goan breakfast. And people have recommended this place called Café Bhonsle, which is in the heart of Panjim. Where is Café Bhonsle? Left side. Thank you.
Non-veg.
Non-veg. Vegetarian is here. Patal bhaji and all that? Here. Ah, here we are. Café Bhonsle. Good morning. What's your name? Milan Bhonsle. You're the owner? Third generation.
1920, so
102 years old. And your great-grandfather began this. And who is that gentleman there?
my father, my grandfather started.
Your grandfather began this. What's your father's name?
Mahadev Bhonsle.
Mr. Mahadev Bhonsle. Well, I'm told this eatery is about 102 years old.
He's speaking Kannada?
ಕನ್ನಡ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ನಿಮ್ದು ಹೆಸರೇನು ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಣ್ ನಿಮ್ಮದು ಊರಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳಗಾವಿಯಿಂದ ಹತ್ರವಿದೆ
ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ
ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜರ್ ಫ್ಯಾಂಟಾಸ್ಟಿಕ್ ಸೊ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಣ್ ಹೊಸಮನಿ our friend from Belgaum is guiding us here in Goa at Café Bhonsle. What mirchi is this, sir?
ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಿಂದ ಬರೋದು
ಬೆಳಗಾವಿಯಿಂದ ಬರೋದು.
ಇದು ಬಾಜಿ ರೀ ಅಲ್ಸನ ಬಾಜಿ
ಬಾಜಿ
ಲೋಕಲ್ ಮಸಾಲಾ ಬಾಜಿ
salad bhaji, tomato onion,
tomato bhaji,
mixed vegetable bhaji.
Yes, this one
Mushroom bhaji. Chana masala.
That's pav,
Local Goan pav.
Yes. This is the samosa.
That's a mirchi bhaji, round bhaji.
Round bhaji mirchi. This is Goa samosa.
This Goa samosa. What goes into Goa samosa?
Potato, green peas,
beans,
carrot, ashtavat.
There's a buns being prepared there. Banana hogta hai.
Banana hogta. Banana, milk,
sugar, cumin, jeera.
Jeera. Baking powder.
And maida. दूध डालते हैं उसमें. हाँ, थोड़ा डालना.
ಇದು ಪೂರಿ ರವಾ ಮತ್ತು ಮೈದಾ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ.
ರವಾ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮೈದಾ ಮಿಕ್ಸ್.
ಲೋಕಲ್ ಗರಂ ಮಸಾಲ.
ಏನಿದೆ? ಜೀರಿಗೆ ಇದೆ.
ಜೀರಿಗೆ ಇದೆ, ಈಗ ಲವಂಗು, ದಾಲ್ಚಿನ್ನಿ, ಏಲಕ್ಕಿ, ಸ್ಪೈಸಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅದು.
ಶೀರಾ.
ಡಾಲ್ಡಾ ಮಿಲ್ಕ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ.
ಡಾಲ್ಡಾ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಿಲ್ಕ್. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಯೋರ್ ನೇಮ್? Gangaram Babun Naik. Fantastic. From Belgavi but in Goa now. So you're the head cook here. Very good. Super. Fantastic. So here is a melting pot.
Yeah.
Goa,
Maharashtra and Karnataka.
Goa, Maharashtra and Karnataka. So here tea is famous. What coffee is that? Instant coffee. Nescafe.
Very regular.
What's special about this place?
Very consistent with its quality. The taste, the typical, Goan Portuguese. Pre-liberation days, when I was a very young lad, my father used to bring me here.
Okay.
The most important thing is that it's become a habitual thing with the whole. Every Panjimite wants to be here. It's got a connection with the place. The connection is that you meet other people from Panjim.
Okay.
So it's besides being a favorite restaurant for breakfast, for your meals, it is also a place to meet and greet Panjim residents. Even the Panjim residents who go abroad, they may go to USA, UK, they may go to any part of the world. A Panjim resident.
But they will return here.
The first thing I know they have come to Goa is that they come here to have a breakfast here.
Fantastic. And I think that's the thing with great places. Places that have been around for a century or so. It's the food, of course, and the traditions that the family has maintained through generations. But there's an emotional cord. There's a connect.
There's a connect.
And I think the food has a memory. So you may have come when you were much younger with some people, etc. So when you taste the food, it also probably connects you back to those memories.
Yeah, links back to the childhood memories.
This is what?
This is tomato bhaji.
Tamat bhaji. So that's what, tomato?
Yeah, tomato and potato.
Oh, with some pav.
Yeah.
The food, has it changed? Same food? Same taste. What's your name, sir?
Kakodkar.
Mr. Kakodkar. So I think although this place has been around for 102 years, the place still looks nice and bright, which is always good. Sometimes you go to places that have been around for a very long time, it seems like nothing much has happened to those places in terms of the upkeep. But I think out here, over a period of time, the owners have kept up the upkeep. I've also taken a look at the kitchen, and the kitchen too is fairly neat and clean and spacious. There's plenty of the poori bhaji that is going. Well, so typically when it comes to Goan food, I think most of the food, the imagery that we see outside is largely seafood, non-vegetarian, etc. But there's also a thriving vegetarian cuisine that you will find in Goa. And what I have on the breakfast table before me is an illustration of that. So the thing to have here in Goa for breakfast is the bhaji. So this is a mixed bhaji, I'm told. So it's basically a sukhi bhaji, which is the potato. And then there is a mixed vegetable bhaji. They call it the tamata bhaji. There's some cauliflower, some potatoes in that, plenty of tomatoes, some beans as well. And this is the alsanna. These are what they call the patronized bhaji, which is basically the liquidy bhaji. And as you can see, the consistency is one that is not too thick, but is the sort that will flow rather well. This is the red chowli and also some cashew that goes in to fortify it. As you know, there's plenty of cashew to be found in all forms here in Goa. And in the alsanna bhaji is also one of them. And this is the bhaji, the Mirchi bhaji that they do out here. So it's basically the green chilies that I'm told come from Karnataka, and then it's coated in a nice, scrumptious, very thick sort of a batter. And they serve that with a chutney. And this is a dish that I think also draws some inspiration from the mango bun. But this is very different. It's a maida, there's some banana that goes into it and made with plenty of milk. Unlike the mango buns, which is fermented, this I'm told is not fermented. And the thing to have with your bhajis is some hot puri. And this we saw being made out there. This is the Goan samosa, very different from a Punjabi samosa. So out here they do the Punjabi samosa as well, but I said we are in Goa, so we should taste what is Goan. So time to get our show on the road here in Panjim near National Theatre at Café Bhonsle. And I think we're going to make a beginning with that puri, because I think that puri runs the risk of cooling down rather quickly. And the thing to have with the puri is some of that bhaji. This is a mixed tamata bhaji. That's a very gentle bhaji in terms of its flavors. Slightly warming in the spices. And there's a touch of sourness somewhere. A pleasant sweet sort of sourness from the tomatoes. I think this bhaji personifies the Goans. The Goans are lovely, amiable, friendly sort of a people. The sort of people who embrace everybody. And I think these bhaji that we are tasting, this tomato bhaji, is certainly quite representative of that. Very gentle in the manner it pleases your taste buds. I think let's taste next that. That sukhi bhaji, I love this. There's a hint of sourness. I think there's some lime that goes in. There's plenty of the freshness that you get from the coriander and slivers of green chili that provide some heat. What I also love is that the potatoes are chopped rather finely, so it allows you to get plenty of the potato and its thick rasa into the scoop of your puri. That's delicious. As you can see, I'm wasting no time to scoop up the remnant of that sukhi bhaji onto my puri. It's still rather mild in its flavors, rather gentle in its flavors, but it has very distinct flavor profiles. So you've got the creamy starchiness of the potatoes and then you've got the freshness of the coriander, and then a slight prick of the green chili every time you bite into it, and then there's plenty of the sasve or the mustard seeds that go into it, and that conveys to that bhaji a certain nuttiness. I think that sukhi bhaji, as they call it, I don't know why they call it sukhi bhaji, because there still is plenty of the gravy in that, is a sort that you should definitely taste. I think next let's turn our attention to the alsanna bhaji. I think the spices here, you can certainly taste the roasted spices in this alsanna gravy. So we saw this special garam masala that is made in-house, which is a combination of the coriander, the cumin, and also the spices like cinnamon, cloves, etc. So the flavors that you get here are that of the roasted spices. There's also a bit of the heat that I'm tasting in that gravy. So I've learned that in the masala that they make, in that itself they grind the red chili. What I've also learned from Lakshman here is that solpa sugar hogate. I think Goans are sweet people, so solpa sweetness irate. These are not the sort of flavors that will hit you with a lot of spicy punch, with a lot of garam masala warmth, etc. The curries are very gentle, delicious. Nangi idu solpa half kodboda. That potato I love. I think it also makes it a very nutritious breakfast. You got plenty of protein right at the start of your day. I love those tender cashew kernels. See, with a slight creamy mashed texture of the beans, and then you have that slight sweetness that comes from the tender cashew kernels. This is superb. And the good thing here is, this accompanies every bhaji. When you ask for a mixed bhaji, depending on whether you ask for a chickpea or the alsana or the tamata bhaji, you will always get one half of the sukhi bhaji, which is a good thing in my books. I love it. I can taste the cumin in the garam masala that goes into that. I think next I want to taste that bun. That sweet aroma of that maida mixed with the bananas and also some milk. The texture of this is that of a thick poori. But also rather crumbly when you begin chewing on it. So unlike a mango bun, the banana sweetness here is slightly restrained, is slightly toned down. But then you're also tasting more of the cumin, the jeerige that goes into this. The sweetness is a sort that definitely makes its presence felt, but in a shy sort of manner. It's not the cloying sort of sweetness that will take over your palate entirely. You know, tea oti ke chana hi rehta na?
Very nice.
So I'm going to keep some of my bun aside to savor with my teeth. So there's also a bit of weight to that texture. Another combination, I'm told you can also eat this with the batatechi bhaji. Interesting, but I think that the potatoes that by themselves are very mild, now in this pairing with the buns, are overpowering that bun to such an extent that you don't even register its sweetness anymore. So in Goa, they love their bread, they love their paos, they love their local bakeries, the podders who make all the breads. There are many varieties of breads that you will find, and this is a pao that has a lovely crust and a very soft, airy sort of a core. And this is the sort that will allow you to blot or to soak the flavors of the curry within that bread. And although it's a pao that has quite a bit of strength in its textures, because it also has that firm crust, when you soak it in one of the gravies, be it the tamata bhaji or the alsanna bhaji, it quite literally dissolves in a pool of that garam masala deliciousness on your tongue. I think next I want to taste this Goan samosa. There's a bit of a stretchiness to that casing. So this is not a typical Punjabi samosa where there's a certain karara texture to that casing. Out here this wrap has a bit of a scrumptious quality to it, but is also rather stretchy with that maida. And there's a bit of spice that I'm tasting in this potato, and I suspect there's some red chili powder too that has gone into that potato. So unlike these dishes which were rather gentle in their spice heat, there's a bit of green chili here, There's a bit of the dry red chili that goes into the preparation of that masala. But out here, there's a red chili powder that goes into that potato stuffing. So you can definitely feel its heat. And you savor it with some chutney. That chutney certainly helps cool things down. You know, coconut has such redeeming qualities. That coconut is crushed very fine. And this is a chutney that is unseasoned. So you're basically tasting more or less the freshness of the coconut, that's all. I'm told they use some of the gram, but in a much lesser quantity. So therefore you're tasting mostly the flavor of the coconut. And of course there's also the heat, the pungency of the other ingredients that go in, whether it's the ginger, whether it's the garlic, whether it's the green chilies, etc. And you can certainly feel that. But it certainly makes for an interesting pairing to my Goan samosa. And should you fancy something sweeter, I guess that's where this ketchup comes in handy. I don't remember the last time I tasted a ketchup. I personally find ketchup rather overpowering, rather cloying in the sweetness, and it tends to mask everything. I think when you have good food, you really don't need the ketchup because it tends to otherwise overwhelm the flavors of the deliciousness that may lie within the dish, like this Goan samosa. My first meal in Goa, we arrived last night, and I've already hit that proverbial pot of gold, albeit a vegetarian breakfast sort of pot of gold. Well, we're going to now focus on a couple of dishes from this point on, and prime among them is the Mirchi bhaji. So what I've heard is that when you have a Mirchi bhaji in which the chili is visible, it's called the putili, which means that chili has emerged through that batter. But when it's not, as in this case, this is a round Mirchi bhaji. I'm going to go for a taste of that putili. So the batter is quite dominant in what you taste on the mouth. But as you get used to it, suddenly you have that chili heat. There's a chili that's spicy. Khara hai there? Oh. You know, I saw the chilies are big, so I thought it won't be too spicy. But this chili is certainly rather spicy. I can feel its spice penetrate deep into my tongue. And I think that's where some of the chutney with just the casing of that bhaji will help cool things down. When you bite into something spicy, of course the best thing to have is some yogurt. But I think out here that coconut chutney, although it still has a bit of spice, is doing a great job of offsetting some of that chili heat. I'm going to go for a small bite of that chili pakoda this time. Tasty, but spicy. If you love that green chili spice, you'll certainly enjoy this one. If not, have it with plenty of the chutney. Usually dappa mirchi has to kara iralla. There's also a tinge of bitterness that you will taste in these big dark green chilies. So you can also register that on your palate somewhere. But it's the spice, that explosive spice of that chili that is still singeing the tip of my tongue. And because of that, this tea too will seem a lot hotter than usual. You know, that's the thing, right? When you eat something spicy and you have a hot beverage after it, it makes the beverage taste hotter than it actually is. There's a fair bit of sweetness in this tea. So if you like your tea less sugar, be sure to tell them that. But I'm told what you also do, which is why I saved some of my bun, my Goa bun, is to dip the bun into the tea, into the cha. That actually makes for a nice dessert because there's some sweetness in that bun which is quite restrained, unlike the sweetness of this cha. So when you taste it in combination, it's almost like closing your meal on a sweet note with a breakfast, tea and Goa bun sort of a dessert. Well, this has been an enjoyable breakfast at Café Bhonsle. This is a sort of place that will definitely compel you to return if you've tasted some of the tasty tiffin here once. That sukhi bhaji is something that I will definitely return for with the poori, and also the buns, the Goa samosa, and some of the other gravies that I tasted. So if you are in Goa and want to taste some delicious vegetarian breakfast and snack, definitely find your way to Café Bhonsle near National Theatre in Panjim. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Gourmet on the Road. Until the next time, take care, stay safe, stay strong, and happy eating and drinking. Actually, I think I'm going to end with the potato, the sukhi bhaji. I love the cumin in that. If you'd like to support the work that we do at Food Lovers TV, do consider joining our membership community on YouTube by hitting the join button below or on the home page. You could pledge a nominal sum and receive special privileges like behind the scenes footage, shoot updates, access to live Q&As, and a lot more. You could support us on our Patreon page as well. For more info, check out the links in the description below. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment below. Happy eating!